Another one, Tristan Da Silva. If you Raptors want to go, with another bigger forward, 6'10" forward from Colorado. To me, I don't know. The eye test, it kind of looked a little bit like Franz Wagner. Maybe not as strong of like a downhill driver. Wagner really is very strong, and he uses that length well. Wagner's been weird offensively up and down because there's certain times where it's like he looks amazing, and certain times you're like, why does he have 7 points? But ultimately, Tristan, I think, is probably not as good offensively as a Franz Wagner. But, a guy who you can immediately see contributing in an NBA court in the sense that he's got the right size for it. He's got the right skill set, catch and shoot three, has a bit of size. I don't know how strong of a defender he is necessarily, but let's just say he has the frame for it. Now, the Raptors, weirdly enough, have traded away a lot of their 6'9" forwards and now are short one of those. So I wouldn't mind Tristan Da Silva if he made it to 19. What are you seeing there? Because I don't really see one skill that pops, but he does look like a solid B, maybe across the board type.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He is, and to me, those guys are a little bit more valuable than what people think now. Having guys that are like kind of solid at everything, not great at everything, because, we kind of see this in the playoffs a little bit as well. Like Buddy Hield could barely get on the court for the 76ers, right? Because Buddy doesn't really have that like combo breaker right now. He used to like be able to drive a little bit more than what he can now, but like if you can just take away that 3-point shot, it's a little bit easier for teams to deal with than what you would think, right? Because you can like peel switch and rotate around, you can scramble, like you can do whatever you want to do around it. With Da Silva, he's a good passer. He is a good shooter. He made, let's see here, 39.5% of his 300 three-point attempts over the last 2 years, 41.4% of his catch and shoot threes in 2023-24. 83.5% of his free throws this year, 79% for his career, made 47% of his floaters and hook shots this year, most of which came on the move, made 63.5% of his shots at the rim, including 62.5% in half-court settings. So all of those numbers, like I'm just reading off numbers, but those are all really positive numbers. They're all like well above average, if not like very, very strong numbers. You throw in the passing as well, like that's a real factor. You brought up Franz. I understand why there's like a natural tendency to compare him to Franz, both German, 6'9" forwards kind of thing. Franz is a little bit more flexible in terms of like ball screen like movement. Like he can take screens and like snake screens and like kind of move around. He just has like better hips than what Da Silva does. Da Silva doesn't quite have the vertical like pop that Franz does either. And I'm not saying Franz is some like monster athlete, but I think Da Silva is not like a crazy athlete. But again, like you're talking about a guy like, with Franz that I thought should have been all defense in the Big Ten, and Da Silva, I would say, should have been, just that level below all defense. He's kind of like knockoff Wagner is the way to put it. Like he's like a little bit worse at everything except for shooting. Really, like he is I would say, more consistent shooter at this point than Franz is. I think he's also older than Franz, if my brain remembers that correctly. It's pretty close.
It is pretty close. Yeah, he's a 4-year senior. So
so he is older than Franz. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I mean, Diet Franz doesn't sound horrible, I guess, for 19. I mean, like, it's a bench player. I totally agree with you in terms of, like, Franz, when he works a pick and roll and stuff like that, he doesn't have a lot of moves, but at the same time, he definitely has more than a guy like Tristan, who I think is, like, more upright. It feels more stiff. He's more, like, kind of, like, north-south, and it's not
Franz,
really, like...
plays with, like, real bend and can, like, kind of snake around and, like, move around a little bit in a straight line. Like, he's not, like, crossing dudes up. It's that he's able to kind of navigate like little seams and creases, I think, better than what Tristan does.
Fair enough. But I mean, again, I feel like the floor is pretty decently high. There's not, it's not a huge swing.